Hello and welcome to today's video on high altitude investing. I apologize for about the 2 week wait in between videos. I've been sick. My nose might still kind of sound a little plugged, so I apologize. My voice went out and I had to wait to record a video because I didn't have a good voice. My voice sounded pretty bad on microphone, so I decided to hold off a little while. I post on my Twitter, so if you want to keep updated and stuff like that, you can go follow me at High Altitude INV at Twitter. So you can go ahead and follow me on there if you'd like to keep updated and stuff. But that's kind of what's been going on, so I wanted to let you know about that. This is XMR. I'll just get right into the video. This coin right here is one that I have been talking about for the longest time, and its cooldown period was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I pretty much was telling people to go long right here at this 50%, which was a good signal to go long on, but not long for very long. Only for this little period of time here in between September 15th and September 23rd. I believe I was telling people to go long right here at this 38%. In fact, I know I was. And that's another place that it, failed to do what I was expecting it to, which was catch leverage and continue on this uptrend. And it said, oh, no, just kidding, and broke below that and came down clear to this below this 23% level here. Now, I was never expecting that, to be 100% honest with you. I thought it would stop at this 23% at the very lowest point. I never expected it to break clear below it. Now, it's not really too surprising for me because, obviously I'm wrong on trading signals sometimes, and so I figured that maybe because of the amount of leverage it was gaining and strength and volume from Alpha Bay and stuff and all that whole shebang, I thought maybe it would, catch leverage at its 50% like this and just keep going on that nice uptrend. But it said, no, just kidding. I'm gonna come down here and test the same area that I broke out at. But as you can see, it just kind of looks like a big giant triangle formation. You see this up here and then this slow cool down that was just stretched out. It's about twice as long as the breakout was in length. So as you can see, we have these are day candlesticks. So from the breakout, we have we'll count this as the start of the breakout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we had 11 days of breakout period. XMR was running for 11 days. And then on the 12th day, it peaked out 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Okay, so over it's significantly bigger. It's about 6 times as big, if my math is right. Somewhere around. So it's significantly bigger. Basically, the cooldown period was a lot more days than the uptrend. Now that's usually to be expected. I mean, when a market catches strength like that, you expect it to peak out, like Bitcoin here, and then come find support. And it usually takes a long time for it to finally bottom out from support levels, and break high. As you can see with Bitcoin, our uptrend was a few weeks here, about 7 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 weeks, and then we had this downtrend for what looks to be about that same cooldown period, about 6 times longer than its initial uptrend. So that's something that have been kind of keeping an eye on, and keeping in my head and calculating around while I'm trading is that it's okay for it to break below levels I wasn't expecting. I'll just close my positions, at losses. Take my losses while I can, and wait for a good buy opportunity. Now, what happened in these few weeks these 2 weeks that I've been gone is we've pretty much had a perfect buy opportunity in current XMR. Now, this buy opportunity happened when we see it finally starting to bottom out right here. After that, giant cooldown period, we finally see it starting to say, "Oh, hey, like I don't want to go much lower than this," So, it's still higher than it's ever been in the past. As far as like a currency goes, its peak was 0.00425 back in March. So it's pretty crazy to me that, well, I guess that wasn't its peak. Its highest point that it's ever hit in the past was 0.0097 ish, 98. So that's not bad. 98's pretty nice. That looked like that's his 23% level, and that's what it hit. So that kind of makes sense that it would find support right there after a giant uptrend like that. So if you look at the all-time of XMR, it kind of tells a different story. You can get a better idea of why it might do what it did and come hit that 23 like as hard as it did. We also have a lot of other coins that it's traded against, and that's something else you have to keep in mind, is the fact that, I'm in margin trading, is the fact that there's an entire XMR market where, coins like Dash or Litecoin or Zcash or DM and Made and NXT, all of these coins, Blueberry, you name it, all these coins on this list can take the value from XMR if they start to increase in value. Another thing that I wanted to point out about XMR, I know I'm talking about XMR for a long time, but it's just one that I've been profiting on during this week, and I see a lot of potential in it considering what's happening and how cheap it is right now. It's very cheap right now, and I don't think it's going to get much cheaper. So it's a good buy opportunity is what I'm getting at. Yeah, here's something that I wanted to point out. Let's see here. Oh yeah, let's look at Ethereum. Now, if we look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin market, Ethereum tells a different story than if you just look at the Ethereum market, and here's why. Now, something to point out is that Ethereum is down at its 38% level again, and that's it's a pretty important signal when it comes down and tests that 38% so many times like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could probably consider that 6. 6 consecutive times. It starts to make you wonder where this coin is going, whether it's gonna finally break below its 38% and come test like it's 23, or whether it's gonna actually say, oh hey, I won't break below this 38% because I don't want to, and I'm gonna keep going up. And so that's something that I've been paying attention to. But another thing that's important in Ethereum is after this first run up in Ethereum, and then this giant run clear up to 0.00 or 0.037 that it hit right here against Bitcoin. Keep that in mind because this is Ethereum against Bitcoin. We saw it come down, test its 38%, pretty normal for it to do that, especially on uptrends. And that's because Bitcoin had started to gain some strength right here. And then Bitcoin and Ethereum started running at the same time. And what that caused is in the Ethereum against Bitcoin market, its peak happened clear back. I think I've talked about this before. March 10th of last year, or this year, I believe. Yeah, this year, excuse me. March 10th of this year is when Ethereum hit its high. And then if you look at the Ethereum against US dollar tether market, it tells a completely different story. And the reason that I'm pointing this out is it may be good to see because it peaked on August 19th against the US dollar. So Ethereum ran along with Bitcoin against the US dollar. So both of them were peaking around that same time. If we look at Bitcoin, so that yeah, this was August 16th. So let's look at Bitcoin and find August 16th. Where's August 16th? All right. So August 16th would be about a day before, well, it's a day before this day right here. This is August 17th. But this is only a few weeks after it peaked. So this is when Bitcoin had dumped completely out. So Bitcoin had finally finished its mooning right here. And that mooning happened right here when Ethereum tried to come up and spike again. It's like, oh shit, I'm losing strength against Bitcoin, and it lost some leverage there, even against the US dollar. But it managed to regain that leverage against the US dollar. When in Bitcoin, we see different story. It came up, hit that peak, dumped off, and then dumped off even harder at that point. At the same time that the Ethereum crashed against the US dollar, it dumped off really hard against Bitcoin. So that's something I just had kept in mind when I was trading XMR because I'm thinking that this first initial run here that we're seeing happened we could see a run up along with Bitcoin here. So if Bitcoin starts to make that nice find support along here, I'm assuming it's gonna downtrend at least to here. I'm thinking it's gonna find support right here. Oh, come on, horizontal lines. Right here is where I'm expecting it to find support at, which is not that much lower than it's at. It's just below $700 a Bitcoin. I'm expecting it to drop off just below 700 and kind of level out right here for a second and find support and leverage and start to do a nice uptrend here again, and continue on its path that it's been taking, this very, very well made uptrend line. So we'll see. Only time will tell, as I always say. But it's definitely something to keep your eye on. And some thoughts that you may want to keep in mind when trading is that XMR will probably hold strength against the US dollar, but I don't know whether it will against Bitcoin. And if it does, there'll be profit opportunities, obviously, but I don't know whether it's actually going to break above its first initial peak against Bitcoin or not. We'll see. I think that it may be better to sell your XMR into US dollar tether. That may end up being more beneficial and profitable in the end because it might hold strength against the US dollar better than it will Bitcoin. So that's some of the thoughts I've had on that. Now let's look at the Ethereum chart purely for the purpose of trading Ethereum. If I was an Ethereum trader, which I'm not, I'm gonna make that very, very clear right now. I do not trade Ethereum right now. I just don't trust it. There's too much going on that I don't personally trust trading this coin right now. But if I was an ETH trader and I was looking for signals, this is what I would be looking for right now. First, I would be hoping that it breaks above this 0.016 level. If I want it to uptrend, I would be looking for it to finally break above this 0.16 level and hold strength for more than a week, because it doesn't seem to get up to that level for very long before it says, nope, don't want to. As you can see, we've had it up above that level a few times, quite a few times in the past, the recent past, but it it's been breaking below this 23% level pretty consistently. We see these one gap here, two gaps here, three here, and then we see it do it again right now. It's below that 23% level. Now, could this be a really good time to buy in Ethereum? Yes, this could be a very good time to buy in Ethereum, because this could be a bottom formation, but I don't think it is. I think that what this is it's just losing leverage. I think it's just continually losing leverage against Bitcoin, and I think it will probably dump off to an equilibrium in price between ETC and Ethereum. That's my first guess, and it's mainly because of all the DDoS attacks and just the concerns and all the hard forks and stuff. Ethereum has a lot of concern attached with it right now, and markets do not like uncertainty. It's a concept inside of trading, as markets do not like uncertainty. So when there's all this uncertainty happening inside of Ethereum, obviously we see it dump off. I was shorting Ethereum. I think I made a video about saying that I had a short position on Ethereum right here, and I nailed that trade. I closed it somewhere around here because I made profit off of it, and then I close my trades at profit. Even if I think that I could make more, I close it at profit, because if I consistently win more than I consistently lose, I'm going to have more money at the end of the day, That's the way I look at it. That's how I do my risk management, is I close at profits and I cut my losses as quickly as possible. Now, let's look at Factum, because Ethereum, like I said, I personally think it's going to break below that support level, but I'm not going to rule out the factor that it, just because it's on Coinbase and stuff like that, that it could gain strength again against Bitcoin and uptrend. So I'm not going to, say that's not possible, but I will say that I personally don't think it's going to happen. Now, let's look at Factum. Factum is an awesome coin. If we look at the price of it, we find that it's just above $2.27 right now. We have 700,000. So we have a pretty low available supply, which is good. The scarcity concept. And we see that it came and tested that 23% level again, which it seemed to really like being around. It's had a lot of time at that 23% level, We've had like a week period where it just oscillated between that and its 38. And then bam, we saw that giant run up in Factum where everybody was like, wow, Factum's mooning. And then we saw this huge bull formation, double top, bam, bam, didn't want to break above. So then that double top formation is a really common signal. That's when you short a coin. If you see a double top formation, short a coin. It's a great way to make some money. Which I did do with Factum somewhere along here when it hit its 61% level. Put a short position on, made a little profit. Now, I think that Factum is going to gain strength again here. I really don't see it breaking below this 23% level. So it's a good time to buy in. It's down 3%. I think it's a good buy. Now, the one that everybody wants to know about, Zcash. Why is Zcash so valuable? It's really simple. Let me close my window. It's really simple why Zcash became so valuable. Scarcity concept. Here's what happened. If you look at the Zcash Explorer, Zchain, Zchain. Here we are. All right, and then we go to the statistics, and we go to miner distribution. No, wrong one. Here we are. Here is the hash rate, the total supply. That's what I want you to pay attention to. How many Zcash are there? Well, when Zcash first came out, there wasn't Zcash, right? It has to get mined for it to actually be a thing, because there wasn't pre-mine. Unlike Ethereum, where we had like 13 million or something pre-mined that the foundation just kept, Zcash has 0 pre-mined coins. Now, what that means is that when it gets first added to a market, people are going to be paying a lot for the coins that they can get because there's none of them. And that's why Zcash started at such a ridiculously high Bitcoin value, is purely because there was none of them. Basically, there was the scarcity concept at its best here. And so now that we've seen this continuous uptrend in the total supply of Zcash, we've seen a continuous downtrend in the value of Zcash. Now, not to say that I don't think this coin has a ton of potential, because I do, and it has a lot of really, really important people that are working on this project, big names, but that is something to keep in mind, is that there's still a very low available supply. And so until this coin catches the point in which the available supply growth and the scarcity concept doesn't affect the actual value of the coin to the point of it being worth more than it actually is, that type of inflation that happens, then I would start to be buying Zcash. And I think that will happen around 0.1 Bitcoin, to be honest. And the reason that I think that is because this coin has a lot of potential. Because it's so new, it will be a long time before it's actually mined up into the millions of coins. And so we've got, some time for it to catch up with the available supply. And so because of that, I think we're going to have a few phases where this coin bottoms out and gains a lot of value, runs up, and then dumps hard and just breaks below what it was at before, and finds a new bottom, runs up, and then dumps out again. And that's what I think is going to happen with Zcash for a little while. And that's pretty much what's been happening. I mean, if you look and see here, bottomed out a little bit, bam, and then found new bottoms. Came over here, bottomed out a little bit, bam. And it looks like we're going to find new bottoms again. And if you look over here, came, bottomed out a little bit, bam, broke below. So it looks like it's kind of been doing that the whole way down. It's oscillating up and down like that. And I would expect the market to continue doing that. And I feel like they're just going to continually get smaller like this too. The runs in value, the spikes will actually look smaller, but you can still make just as much money off of it, obviously, because the percentage in change is what really matters. At the end of the day, is when you bought in and the percentage of change between when you sold out. What percentage gain or loss you had. So, ETC, I don't really want to talk too much about it because it's basically like Ethereum. I just think that it's came down here and actually bottomed out where Ethereum isn't. And that's why I think ETC is a good buy right now, is because I feel like it's going to gain strength and pull value from Ethereum. Now, will it actually do that? God knows, but I think it will. I think it's gonna, finally start to make a like nice uptrend here. This is another coin that I said buy all along the down, and I don't think I was right until today, because I feel like now it's finally found its bottom, which is rare. Uh, Now, new economy movement. This is one that I've talked about before, and I still think is an incredible buy, because it's rare that you find a coin that does this. It reminds me of the Factum graph in a lot of ways. Just bam, 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 and then came down here. And so I think it's going to do that same bowl formation. Come clear up and then double top. So that's what I'm looking for in XCM. I think it's a great buy. I'd wait till tomorrow purely because it's up 22% today, which is a huge gain, and it's probably a little inflated. So I'd wait till tomorrow, but I would be buying XCM or New Economy Movement right here, because I think it's going to do that Factum Bull formation. And, we'll see, but that's exactly the type of pattern that it's making. And for me as a trader, that's a really nice pattern, especially if it continues. I can find it again. If I can find the same patterns and they do the same things, then I can apply that knowledge. And that's really what trading is about, is finding patterns and then figuring out what those patterns are and then applying that knowledge and actually making some money doing it. It's really fun. Obviously, I've lost a lot of money, but who hasn't? So it's just part of it. It's the name of the game. You don't trade money. You can't expect to lose. All right. So this is Augur, REP, the first real implementation of Ethereum. This is the one reason that I think Ethereum could possibly gain strength and make ETC not be valuable and Ethereum actually catch leverage and stay the true chain, or whatever, but is only because of Augur, and it's just because it's the first real implementation I've seen of the technology. I don't think this is a good buy yet. I think it's got a little more time to bottom out, but that's my thoughts. It could be a good buy. And if it does start to run up, then I would assume that Ethereum starts to run up because of the value stack inside of the chain. Any currency that works on top of Ethereum, or any coin or anything that works on top of Ethereum, the value of that coin will kind of be inside of the Ethereum, because without Ethereum, that coin wouldn't function. And so there's a value stack that happens. So that's something that you want to keep your eyes and ears on. And that's why we have ETH markets. It's because of the value stack. All right. Steam, I think Steam runs on the Ethereum blockchain. No, it doesn't. That's not true. Take that out of my thing. Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, Steam it does not work on the Ethereum blockchain, according to my understanding. Frequently asked questions. What is the Steem blockchain? Yeah, I see nothing here that is referring to the Ethereum blockchain, and that would be something that you'd notice. So, yeah. But this is definitely a coin that I would keep my eye on, purely because it will affect the value of Ethereum. And if you're an ETH trader, then you want to look into anything that's going to be taking value or putting value into a coin that you're trading. So, excuse me, still got a little bit of a plug nose, which makes it kind of difficult to talk. All right, now Ripple. What is Ripple doing? Ripple is, in my opinion, catching leverage here, and it will continue uptrending. I think Ripple's a great buy. Looked like it bottomed out hard, had a lot of value in the past, and it looks to be kind of oscillating and gaining strength and not breaking too hard below highs. and it's not up or down too much today, so it's a good buy. I would definitely be buying XRP. Okay, pot. Buy pot coin. Um, this coin, I see a ton of value potential for this cryptocurrency. I cannot emphasize this enough, especially with all of the cannabis legalization that just happened in America. During the elections, we had a ton of legalization happen clear across America. Multiple states, California is now recreationally legal. So we had all of this legalization happening. What is Potcoin? Potcoin is basically like a debit card for the cannabis industry. So what happens here in America is federally, it's illegal for any cannabis industry to put their money inside of a bank. And so banks can't accept debit transactions, can accept all of these common forms of currency transfer that we see, like debit transactions and stuff, can't happen. You have to pay with cash inside of an American cannabis dispensary. Now, what happens because of that is we have drug dealers, like people that have power and weaponry. They go and attack these dispensaries because they're big giant cash hoarders. They have millions of dollars of cash in there and drugs. So it's like, hey, let's go steal all of their drugs and cash, and that's what they do. And what ends up happening is people get hurt. It's not safe to have that much cash. In fact, it's stupid that American banks won't accept cannabis money on a federal, because it's illegal on a federal level, excuse me. Now, what Potcoin is basically like a cryptocurrency. You buy some, it comes on this debit card, and places that accept Potcoin, dispensaries, you can pay with Potcoin, and then they don't have to keep cash. It's safer for the employees, it's safer for the company, and really it's safer for the people that go there because they don't risk the chance of somebody shooting them or something when they go in the building, because there isn't as big of a criminal motivation involved. Now, that's why I think Potcoin is a great buy right now. All the legalization that's happened, we see this huge spike up before, this could have been the market preparing for that, but I don't think it was. I think that the market just made a nice run in value, came down, and is just finding support and will continue on this nice uptrend it started to create for itself. So we'll see, but that's one that I personally think is a good buy. It's also down 22% today, so pretty much anything that's down that much, you can't expect it to go down too much more the next day. I mean, with the exception of Zcash, of course, but I think Potcoin is a good buy, so keep your eyes peeled on that. Now, those are really all of the coins that I wanted to talk about today. That and Clam, actually, I was going to mention Clam, because Clam made a nice 20% run the other day, which was a little bit unexpected for me, only because I hadn't seen it bottom out. I wasn't really noticing that it actually came down here and bottomed harder. And so that's why it did this run, but I think it's still going to come down and find a new bottom. But it won't be very long before it does. And when it does, this coin will have a lot of value potential. So definitely one to keep your eye on. One that's relatively cheap and has a lot of value potential. Now, I just want to see it find a bottom here. It may have right here, but I just don't see the volume necessary for me to call that a bottom formation. And so I'm going to wait until it bottoms out a little bit harder here. And then I'm going to start buying Clam because it's probably going to make a nice, triple or quadruple run in value. So definitely one to keep your eye on. Alright, I've already kind of talked about Bitcoin. I still think it's going to, continue on this nice uptrend. Biggest volume for the day is Bitcoin 64 million, Ethereum at 6 million, Ripple at 2 million, Litecoin at 1 million, Monero at 3 million. Let me sort by volume here. Yeah. Zcash at 1 million. So, our highest volume traded coins are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, Ripple, and Litecoin, and then Zcash. So, that's a good sign. We're headed in the right direction. I bet you that this will come up in the top value here soon. This U.S. dollar, not value, volume here soon. This U.S. dollar tether, I feel like will gain a lot in volume, only because people are going to be dumping a lot of their crypto out of it and a lot of their U.S. dollar into crypto. And so I think that's going to happen. Is we're going to see a significant increase in tether volume. And also something to keep your eye on, because that means that the U.S. economy is losing. Well, not the U.S. economy. The U.S. dollar is losing strength against Bitcoin in concept. So that's pretty much my overview for the week. I have some people working on another video that's an in-depth margin trading video right now. And he's making that like an actual tutorial with like explanations and maybe even a little visual example or something, along those lines. So keep your eye out for that and expect more consistent videos. I bet you my nose will I'll be completely feeling not sick here in a few days, so I'll get right back to my normal weekly schedule of uploading these overviews. I appreciate your time. I hope you can stay profitable. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.